This is the Lobo postgame show. Once again, Robert Portnoy.
That was a big one for the University of New Mexico. The Lobos take down Wyoming in their building. The Dome of Doom was dominated by the Lobos tonight. New Mexico 119, Wyoming 114. Final 119 points, Hunter, that the Lobos scored here tonight is the most ever by an opponent in this building against the Wyoming Cowboys. It opened back in 1982. The Arena Auditorium had never seen a team in the other uniform score as many as that. And the 119 coming in regulation play here tonight. The Lobos got it going at their pace very early on, the first 4-minute segment, and it really never slowed down the entire night.
Hey, Wyoming scored 114. It was 233 points scored between the two teams.
114 wasn't enough to win.
This is an NBA game.
Wow. The Lobos, of their final 20 points scored in the contest, New Mexico had 18 of them at the free throw line. Wyoming did try to start fouling, really, with about 3 minutes to go in the game. They started fouling to see if they could get back in the game with New Mexico misses at the free throw line. Well, you're trying to foul the best free throw shooting team in the conference. That's a tough road to hoe.
It is, and they were trying to trade, threes for twos, and of course, New Mexico knocked down the free throws at the end when it counted.
Yeah, they were good at the line in the second half, the Lobos. 23 of 29, 79% at the foul line in the second half as the Lobos finished off Wyoming. Final count of 119 to 114. You're locked into the Lobo basketball post-game show. New Mexico had 2 Everguard Solar and Everguard Roofing slam dunks. That means $10 per dunk. Welcome back inside the AA, the Arena Auditorium at the University of Wyoming. The Lobos put up 119 on the host Cowboys, the most ever by an opponent in this gym since it was built and opened back in 1982. The Lobos defeat the Cowboys 119 to 114 in Laramie. You're locked into the Lobo basketball post-game show. Bank of the West is the Lobo basketball three-point donation sponsor. They have had a continued commitment as the Lobo sponsor of three-point baskets made. After every game, they donate to Special Olympics of New Mexico. And now, for more than 20 years, Bank of the West has contributed over $100,000 to Special Olympics of New Mexico as part of its proud commitment to Lobo athletics. And the Lobos, well, as you can imagine, the three-point shot, a big part of scoring what they scored tonight, 119. New Mexico was 13 of 27 from three-point land. That's 48%. And that's a big donation, courtesy of Bank of the West, to Special Olympics of New Mexico. Lobos win it 119-114. We take time out on the Lobo basketball postgame show. Still tons to do, including postgame comments with Lobo head coach Paul Weir. Lobos defeat Wyoming. Final score 119-114. Lobo basketball from Learfield. Back inside the Arena Auditorium at the University of Wyoming on the Lobo basketball postgame show. New Mexico a winner over the Wyoming Cowboys. 119-114 is the final, the most points ever scored by a visiting team in the Dome of Doom. The Lobos sweep Wyoming 2 straight in league conference play this year. It is our privilege to welcome in Lobo head coach Paul Weir for our postgame coach's comments. And Coach Weir, congratulations. Hunter and I pointed it out at the very first break, right at the outset, that you guys got the pace of this game where you wanted it in that first 4-minute segment, and it never seemed to slow down, ever.
Yeah, no, I think as tough as it was to watch at times, particularly defensively, we wanted the game at that pace. We felt, I don't know how much better we were, but we felt we could be just a little bit better playing at that game if we kind of turned it into a half-court game and they got their zone set up and they got their length and we had to guard them in the half, that maybe this game could have gone a different way. And I think when you look at their wins against Nevada and against Boise here, they did a very good job of controlling the tempo themselves, whether it was them being fast on offense or slowing it down defensively. And I thought we were like, you know what, we just got to dictate the tempo. Even if there's some bad runs and even if there's sometimes it doesn't look pretty, it gives us our best chance to win.
Well, it was totally a different game from when you played them in the pit. I mean, you had tempo. Actually took the bigs out of the game. Wyoming's bigs were either in foul trouble or I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Herndon didn't start, but
yeah.
he just really never got into it.
Yeah, they went with a small lineup early, and it put us in a bit of a bind of whether to play the bigs or not. We tried to keep them in there, Joe and Vlad, as much as we could, just to kind of get a little bit of rim protection. Unfortunately, Vlad was just struggling a little bit, and Joe couldn't stay out of foul trouble, and we ended up finishing the game with kind of some smaller lineups. But they were small pretty much all night. I think when number 2 got in foul trouble there and fouled out, they just kind of stayed small the rest of the way.
Yeah, and the idea that there were so many fouls called. Was that?
Yeah, I just told the refs walking up the ramp, I got a feeling I'm going to be called into questioning somewhere for what just happened. And that was just a weird game.
Yes.
I mean, really, really weird game. I thought the first half was like a really old NBA game.
Right.
It was just this up and down, scoring left and right. Nobody wanted to play any defense, And then I thought the beginning of the second half was good for us. I thought we were still doing good offensively, and we finally were getting some stops defensively. We were getting some turnovers. We were getting some breakaway dunks, and we were coming into the timeout saying, "Hey, they're tired. We got them where we want them." And I thought that mid part of the second half, we really kind of got it where we wanted to. And then the last, however many minutes, was just a weird finish to a game, and it was almost like 3 different games in one. They started fouling really early.
3 minutes to go.
Yeah, they started fouling really early, and I don't know if the officials at the other end felt they had to even it. It just got really disjointed where it was just these 5-second possessions, back and forth for 3 minutes, and it just gave
it. Dribble. Anytime someone took you off the dribble, they would call.
Yeah, exactly right. And I couldn't really see how many of them were or weren't. I thought some of them were iffy, but I guess based on the score and everything else, it was what it was. But we were making our free throws at the other end, and if they just wanted to keep going 2 for 2 and 2 for 2, we were going to live with it.
Coach, you went into a zone, and we talked about this, Rob and I. Was that because of the foul trouble? Or? We
were trying everything, to be honest with you. I tried everybody on everybody. We have some really gifted offensive players. I think you can see it. It's fun to watch a lot of these guys play. It's as good an offensive team as I've coached. They're really fun when they spread the ball and move the ball the way they did, especially tonight.
Awesome.
It's fun, and that's what we've preached all year long. Being a really great team that's going to pass, have really good fundamentals, no spacing, know how to cut, all those things. And I think we're getting there. The problem is it's just a lot of them aren't great individual defensive players, and it's a challenge for us, and it's a coaching thing. I've got to get better. We've got to get better. Every time out, I just said we have to defend more to win on the road. We have to defend more on the road, and we went on the road anyway. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
Well, we were talking. James is one of the toughest players to guard in this conference.
He is.
You got Mathis with 4 fouls trying to guard him.
I know.
But I guess it didn't
matter.
Well,
I was just wrote hey, who wants to try him next? And no one could guard him. And the same thing happened at our place. Yeah. So we tried some zone. He doesn't care. He just gets going downhill, and he's going to the rim. And unfortunately, we don't have a rim protector at the rim, and we don't have a strong guy on the ball, and it just kind of limits our defense. And that's what's hurt us all year, just really good one-on-one players that, we have an inability to guard on the perimeter and then an inability of a guy at the rim to kind of help protect it when they get there.
I thought something that was really big tonight, Coach, where I'd love your thoughts. Maybe this wasn't the case early in the year, but this new Sam Logwood, it appears it is going to be the case that when on a night Joe Fursinger only plays 14 minutes and deals with foul trouble, Sam made a true commitment to the defensive glass, and he was critical.
Yeah, since he came back, I think his offensive patience has really allowed him to have better games. And I think early in the year and before, he took some time off, he was just forcing a lot. We were forcing him the ball. We all stood around. He'd pick up a charge. He'd miss shots. He'd get angry. We'd sub him out. And it just became this snowball effect where it just went downwards and downwards. And ever since he came back, when he catches the ball now, he's passing it and he's moving and he's getting it back. And it's just such a better rhythm. So now he's scoring more and getting easier baskets and not turning it over and not getting foul trouble. And he's just in a better place mentally. And I think if I can get Antonil to that place as well, we're offensively, it's a fun team to watch when we're playing the way we are, just really good, unselfish basketball. And I told the guys before the game, I tell them after the game, you don't know whose night it's going to be. That's just the reality of it. That's the beauty of this thing. You move it, you pass, you cut, you learn how to play without the ball. You have good fundamentals. You come to stops, you space. And tonight it could be Joel's night, it could be Chris' night, it could be Sam night. It's just going to depend on how they guard and what they give us.
First half, Troy Simons, as good a half as he's played, that was a terrific first half for Troy. A nice game. Yeah.
Both ends. He was defense and
offense. No, I think, his, and Hunter's been the one that's talked about it. him getting to the rim to just get himself going is a great start, and like when his first, and he's so good at ripping baseline on our pass, open up the floor and let him rip baseline. And he's got several dunks this year, and he had one early, and I thought it kind of got him in a bit of a rhythm. Then he got to the free throw line. There's another Hunter Green point, so he gets to the free throw line. He's getting to the rim. Now he's not just shooting threes and that's it. So that was a good rhythm for him. Look, he was a tremendous three-point shooter in junior college. Tremendous. And, he's been very up and down since he got here. He's been streaky either way, but he's capable. It's not a situation where he's just shooting it and no one, like, he's a very good shooter, and when he's making shots like that, it obviously frees up everybody else.
Well, a lot of it's because of the ball movement.
Exactly right. Logwood hit him in the corner for wide open shots in the zone. I mean, it was good. It was a fun offensive basketball game. We have to find a way to guard better. At the same time, some of these games just get away from you a little bit, and they turn to just these wild up and down games. Just like some games turn into those defensive battles where no one can score. This game just had a rhythm to it offensively that neither defense could get the offense out of. That's something obviously we have to work on and get better at. But fortunately, we got the win. To just steal one here at a place that beat Boise, beat Nevada is enormous for our team.
So in a game at this pace, with as many possessions as there were and as many points as were scored and as much transition basketball as was played, a turnover number that you can live with would be what? 20 too
We had
many?
20 in game one, and I talked about it going into this game. We turned over the ball 20 times the first time we played them, and again 20 tonight. Their zone gives us issues. They have really good length, and we have smaller guards, and they can't see the next pass. They really extend their zone. We tried to, our goal was really just to get the ball to the high post and forget the guards having to do it, and I thought we did a really good job of that in the first half. Just get it to the high post and get the ball out of our guards' hands. But they made some adjustments and kind of took it away and forced Antido and Chris to kind of get into traffic and get surrounded by that length. And unfortunately, it just wasn't good. Ant really struggled in the zone tonight offensively. And we just got to find a way to improve on that because 20 turnovers is just it's just way too much.
You think he struggled because of the length?
I think a little bit of it. I think for sure. And to be honest with you, they only played us 5 possessions of zone in game one, and we watched all 5 of them this morning. And he struggled in game one as well. They only did it late in the game, but we didn't do very well against it. So we said, hey, we're going to get a dose of zone tonight because they didn't show us much in game one, but the 5 possessions they scored, they got 4 stops, and we didn't look comfortable. So we've spent a lot of time the last few days working on getting that ball to the high post, getting the ball down to the corners, flattening out the zone. But when those guards can't get it out of their hands up top because they can't see over the top to get it out, it was unfortunately just turns into turnovers.
It seems like you guys are seeing more of that. Matchup zone, and they'll fall back. They'll match up. And they'll show a zone, and they'll go to man-to-man.
Yeah, no question. Utah State started a little bit of it. Teams are trying some different things because we're small and we spread the floor. You've got to kind of figure out how to guard us. So we're starting to see some new things for sure. Some teams have started denying a little bit, doing some different stuff. But as long as we just keep our offensive concepts, that's all we practice. We don't go over a lot of plays. We don't go a lot of stuff. We just teach the game every day. The passing, the cutting, the dribbling, all that stuff, and hope that it really doesn't matter what someone does. We just have enough fundamentals to work through it.
Well, you could see it, and it was nice to watch this evening because the ball movement was excellent, especially in the first half, and even in the second half against that zone when you were able to find,
for sure.
You got Logwood passing to Pinchuk or bigs to big
Agreed.
and stuff like that.
Agreed. No, we did some good things offensively for sure. And it's up to me too as a coach. I've got to find a way to get some defense out of this team and this roster. That's part of the reason we've pressed all year because we knew when it got back there it wasn't going to be pretty. But we've got to find a way to make it pretty when it gets there, and that's on me. I've got to maybe think of some new things or find a way to get some teams out of rhythm when they get in like that.
That was the last thing I was going to ask because it wasn't just James, but Adams off the bounce too was pretty unstoppable.
Yeah.
What else can you do to force one of those guys that can penetrate like that off the ball?
Adams, I thought, got a lot in transition, and particularly against the press. In game one, that was good for us. He turned it over. He missed a lot of shots. So, he has a negative assist-to-turnover ratio. So to start, we were okay with him trying to drive out of control and make plays. Then he got into a rhythm. Then he starts getting and ones, and now all of a sudden it's okay, we got to change this a little bit. And we tried to make some changes there. I thought it got a little better on him late, and then he got a couple of foul calls here and there. I thought they could have gone either way, but once he gets going downhill, he was pretty darn good too tonight.
Yeah, stopping the ball. I guess continued focus.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly
okay.
right.
Well, Coach Ware, this is a tremendous win. Obviously,
yeah, shoot, man. I just told the guys I was mad as can be. This game, second half, I was on them. I coached them really hard. I was even angry when the game ended. I was upset with a lot of things, but I'm not going to go in after beating Wyoming on the road and be upset with the guys. It's just I can't do it. They beat Boise here. They beat Nevada here. We're 9-6. We got a fun game coming up. This is a meaningful February to this team, and I'm so happy for them. And hopefully we can just kind of keep it going.
UNLV next at home. Another one of those teams right in the mix.
Exactly right.
It gets even more fun this weekend.
It really does.
All right, Coach Ware.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you very much.
Yep, take care.
Lobo head coach Paul Ware, post-game coach's comments. We pause on the post-game show. New Mexico 119, Wyoming 114. Final. Lobo basketball from Learfield. Back in the Arena Auditorium in Laramie. The Lobos have knocked off the rival Wyoming Cowboys. Final score, New Mexico 119, Wyoming 114. All right, it's time to get you some of our post-game goodies. Let's take a peek at our State Farm Insurance Assist of the Game. The Assist of the Game is presented by State Farm Insurance. We want you to get an agent that gets you. And, Hunter, on a game in a night where the Lobos shared the basketball extremely well, Chris McNeil ended with 6 assists. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 players with an assist in this game. Yeah. That's a testament to the ball movement that you were talking about.
And you didn't even have to look at that stat. Just watching the game, how they moved the ball, and of course, love the inside outs with Sam Logwood to Troy.
All right, it's time for your State Farm Insurance Assist of the Game. When teammates, okay, we'll get to that in just a moment. Assist of the Game coming up here in just a moment. We want to remind you the Albuquerque Downs Racetrack and Casino is your home for winning entertainment, including simulcast racing. That's the Albuquerque Downs Racetrack and Casino. Okay, while we're waiting on the assist of the game here for a moment, why don't you select our Subway sub of the game?
That would be Troy.
Troy Simons.
Troy Simons. I mean, both Troy and Logwood came off the bench. One's the player of the game and one's the sub of the game. I mean, I thought both their contributions between the two of them was huge.
So Troy Simons, tonight's Subway sub of the game. Congratulations to Troy Simons for being named the Subway sub of the game. Subway restaurants keep you going on and off the court. Stop in today. Subway, eat fresh. Troy Simons, your Subway sub of the game. All right, time for us to pause. We come back. We'll wrap it up on the post-game show from the Arena Auditorium in Laramie. The Lobos defeat the Cowboys 119-114. Lobo basketball from Learfield. Welcome back inside the Arena Auditorium at the University of Wyoming. The New Mexico Lobos have defeated the Wyoming Cowboys by a final score of 119-114. It is the most points that have ever been scored by an appointment in the history of this building. It opened back in 1982, the Dome of Doom, and no opponent in a regulation game or overtime game had ever scored as many as the 119 points the Lobos put up on the Cowboys here tonight. Again, the final, New Mexico 119 and the Wyoming Cowboys 114. Okay, time for us to get to our State Farm Insurance Assist of the Game. When teammates help each other out, great plays happen like this. Vlad is very well schooled in his footwork, isn't he?
Yeah, you can see he's getting better. I mean, he's not the same player he was back in November, I tell you.
Antono with a beautiful find to Troy Simons on the inbounds. A gorgeous bounce pass and beautiful execution on the inbounds play, and Troy lays it in. Simons in double figures with 11. Antono Jackson with one of his 2 assists, one of 17 assists the Lobos had on 37 field goal makes. There it is, your State Farm Insurance Assist of the Game. It is presented by State Farm. Get an agent that gets you. Okay, we will select our P&M Reliable Player of the Game here in just a moment. I want to remind you that New Mexico is getting home this weekend. The Lobos will get UNLV in Albuquerque. That's coming up this Saturday, February 25th. This Sunday. It is a Sunday game this weekend. A special time for you for the UNLV Rebels in Dreamstyle Arena of the Pit. It is Sunday this weekend, February 25th. It is at high noon. Yep, a Sunday afternoon game, February 25th. High noon, that's when we tip. 11:30 a.m. with your broadcast start with the Bank of the West pregame show, the New Mexico Lobos and the UNLV Rebels at noon in Dreamstyle Arena, the Pit, this coming Sunday, February 25th. Let's take a peek at some of the scoring in this contest now as the Lobos defeated Wyoming by a final count of 119 to 114. For New Mexico, game-high totals for the Lobos come from Troy Simons and Sam Logwood. Each goes for 24. Logwood missed a double-double by one board, 24 points, 9 rebounds, went 11 of 12 from the field. Logwood 2 of 3 from the free throw line, 9 rebounds, 1 was offensive, had 2 assists. Troy Simons, 8 of 11 floor, 4 of 6 distance, 4 of 6 foul line, had 6 rebounds and 24 points, 1 assist for Simons. Simons only turned it over one time and had a steal. 20 points from McQuatch Malawach, a lot of work at the foul line. 12 of 15 from the free throw line, 3 of 7 field, 2 of 3 from deep. Malawach, 20 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 0 turnovers. Chris McNeil with 17 points, 6 assists, 10 of 12 from the free throw line. He helped the Lobos clinch the game down the stretch as Wyoming fouled for the last 3 minutes of the contest. McNeil, 10 of 12 from the free throw line, 3 of 8 from the field, 1 of 5 from the floor. Also in double figures, Dane Kuiper with 11. He went 3 for 4 from long range and had 5 rebounds and 2 assists. 10 points for Anthony Mathis. He scored in double figures in all 15 New Mexico Mountain West contests. They're now 9-6. Mathis has scored 10 or more in every one. 4 of 7 from the field, 2 of 4 from deep before he fouled out here tonight. 9 points for Joe Furstinger and 5 rebounds before Joe Furstinger fouled out of this contest. 3 points for Antonio Jackson and 1 for Vladimir Pinchuk. For the Wyoming Cowboys, Lou Adams led them with 31. They got 23 from James, 21 from Dalton, 12 from Aka Gorski, 7 apiece from Kelly and Redding. They got 5 points from Mueller, 4 from Momeka, and 2 points apiece from Herndon and Maldonado. Points in the paint, a wash, Wyoming 40, New Mexico 28. Off turnovers, 30 to 26, Wyoming. Bench points, 59-57, the Lobos. Second chance, 7 to 5, New Mexico. Fast break, 6 to 4. The Cowboys. Wyoming's biggest lead of the game was 3. The Lobos led by as many as 15 in the second half, as many as 11 in the first half. New Mexico led for the vast majority of the contest. The Lobos win it by the final count of 119 to 114. Rebounding battle goes to Lobos 34 to 28 and 5 to 4 on the offensive glass. Turnovers, New Mexico 20, Wyoming 18. Lobos shoot 58% from the field for the game. 61% for the field from the game. Wyoming shoots 58%. New Mexico 48% from 3, 13 of 27, while Wyoming was 13 of 23 from 3, 56%. Lobos 32 of 43 at the line, 74%. Wyoming 27 of 38 for 71%. Want to get you that P&M Reliable Player of the Game? P&M delivers reliable energy to you 24/7. Committed community partners, P&M, adding cleaner resources, including more solar and wind energy. Working to build a strong, sustainable energy future for New Mexico. Talk to us at pnm.com, where you can manage your account and learn how to save money on your electric bill. It's time for your P&M Reliable Player of the Game. Tonight's game changer for the Lobos was none other than Sam Logwood. 12 turnovers now by Wyoming. A strip by Kuiper. Throw ahead to Logwood. Here comes a tomahawk windmill. Timeout, Wyoming. Yeah, Sam Logwood with a rim rocker in transition, forcing a Wyoming timeout. Sam Logwood tonight, spectacular. 24 points, 9 rebounds, 11 of 12 floor shooting, 2 of 3 at the foul line, 1 offensive board among his 9, and 2 assists. Sam Logwood is your P&M Reliable Player of the Game. That's going to do it for us from the Arena Auditorium here in Laramie, Wyoming. Remember, the post-game call-in show, the Overtime Call-in show, is coming up next with J.J. Buck taking your phone calls. That is right after we wrap up from Laramie. Big thank you to Malik Taylor, my broadcast producer and engineer, my partner, Hunter Green. I'm Robert Portnoy. Remember, the Lobos will play at home this weekend as a Sunday high noon matchup with the rival Runnin' Rebels. UNLV comes to town. 11:30 airtime with the Bank of the West pregame show. 12 noon for the tip-off. We want you in Dreamstyle Arena, the Pit, and in full throat. Make it difficult for the Rebels in Albuquerque this weekend. New Mexico with this victory improves to 14-14 on the year. The Lobos are now 9-6 in the Mountain West. The Wyoming Cowboys fall to 17-11 and 8-7 in conference play. Remember the significance of this one. Coming into this contest, there were 3 teams deadlocked in 4th in the league standings. UNLV, Wyoming, and New Mexico all at 8-6. The Lobos, for the moment, have solo 4th in the conference at 9-6. UNLV has a critical game at home tomorrow night at conference play when they host Fresno State. That is the biggest of those games that are scheduled for them tomorrow in league play. Tonight was the only contest in league play right here, New Mexico and Wyoming. So keep an eye out for that score tomorrow night. Boise State's at Colorado State, San Diego State at Air Force, San Jose State at Nevada, and Fresno State at UNLV. San Diego State, by the way, hot. They're 7-7, right behind that trio of teams that were all 8-6 coming into this contest. The Lobos now 9-6, and they are just a half game behind Fresno State, the third-place team in conference. Should UNLV knock off Fresno State at home tomorrow, then there would be a logjam at third in the Mountain West Conference with 3 games to go in the regular season. We'll talk to you from Dreamstyle Arena, the Pit, this weekend. That's it for us from the AA in Laramie. Final score for the final time. The Lobos have swept Wyoming. They score an Arena Auditorium opponent record, 119 points. New Mexico, 119. Wyoming, 114. So long, everybody. You're listening to Lobo Basketball from Learfield.